Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. Up next.
If you love wisdom, put your mind up to the ceiling. Don't let it stay in the gutter. Don't let your heart get all cluttered. No, I did not stutter. Listen to all that I've muttered. Your life will only go well if you win wisdom or lovers.
In love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
You and I. You and I.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
Right, good afternoon. This is J.C. Johnson, and you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And on today's show, we are talking about the wisdom of generosity. And I have a special guest with me. He goes by the name of Jermell.
Hey,
What's up, Jermell?
How you guys doing out there?
All right, so this is going to be an awesome show. I'm glad that you could hang out with us this afternoon. We're going to go to a quick break, but we will be right back after this. You're listening to North Coast Underground.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside.
Hey, what's going on, Wisdom family? Each week on For the Love of Wisdom, we promote a new and free audiobook that we believe you will benefit from and become wiser by listening to. On today's show, we're talking about the wisdom of generosity. And so, the recommended book for this week is Give and Take, A Revolutionary Approach to Success by Adam Grant. This book is about how people who give are prone to achieve extraordinary success. To download this free book today, just visit audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. audibletrial.com/lovewisdom.
All right, what's going on, everyone? You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And this is your host, J.C. Johnson, here today with special guest Jermell.
Hey.
All right, and today we're going to be discussing the wisdom of generosity. All right, so on every episode, we pick a different topic. If you've been listening for a while, then you know that all of the episodes have the same suffix. And what do I mean by suffix? Well, that's the last few letters of a word. So basically, we're just keeping it consistent. We're on episode 34 now. So the first 34 episodes have all ended with the same suffix, and that's ity. Right, so pretty much that's what we're doing right now. It's just a way to add some continuity to the show and just give people something to look forward to. And we are coming up on the 50th episode, so once we get to that, we're actually going to switch it up and we're going to start using a different suffix, maybe something like ence or tion or something like that, or we may even switch up the prefix and make every episode start with something like a pre, for example. So if you have some suggestions on that, you can definitely hit me up. You can hit me up on Twitter at LoveWise Podcast, or you can hit me up on Instagram. That's on my Instagram account is One Plan Media. All right, so that's at One Plan Media. So either on Instagram or Twitter, you can hit me up and kind of just let me know what ideas that you have for that. All right, so before we get too much into what we're going to be talking about today, I want to take a look at what we discussed last week, just for anyone who missed it. And always remember too that even if you missed this or you got to get up to go to the bathroom or whatever, you can always check out past episodes. All you have to do is just go to iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere where you can find podcasts, and this show is going to be on there. So I think that this, awesome that we have the technology to be able to connect 24 hours a day, right? So you don't necessarily have to tune in live, but I mean, why wouldn't you if you have the opportunity?
To press up a button, man.
Right.
Technology is amazing. I love it. Press up a button.
Yeah, so the show was always live Thursdays at 4. But again, if you miss it, you can check it out on your favorite podcast platform. So one of the I like to always start with this, that the theme of this show, For the Love of Wisdom, if you look at the wording, love of wisdom, that's not done by accident. This word actually comes from, or the title actually comes from the word philosophy, because when you break down the word philosophy, it literally means love, wisdom, or love of wisdom, because that first part of the word philos is a Greek word that means love, and it's just very similar to the first letters of the word Philadelphia, right? And if you don't know, Philadelphia literally means brotherly love. That's why they call it the city of brotherly love.
Yes, sir.
So it's like a friendship, brothers, type of love. So that's where the first part of that word comes from. The second part of the word, sophos or Sophia, it's another Greek word, and it means wisdom. So you put the two together, and it's love of wisdom. All right, so that's really where the show title comes from, and the verse that really stands out to me. It's a verse from the Bible that I think is it goes really well with the show topic. And
I know that verse. I love it.
What's that?
The verse you're gonna say? I think so. Is it Galatians?
No, but I like to hear it. What does it say in Galatians?
It has just to sum it up. I'm gonna paraphrase it. I'm not trying to quote it per se. But it just sums up to how love, generosity, and kindness are kind of the keys to life, and how love is the most important of them all is love. It says that verbatim, most important of them all is love. I can't think of the verse per se. It's in Galatians. But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh yeah. No, that goes perfectly with what we're talking about today specifically, because we're talking about generosity. But overall on the show, the verse is Psalm 90 verse 12, and it says, "Teach us to number our days carefully, so that we may develop wisdom in our hearts." And so it's all about wisdom. So that's what this show is. And wisdom, that's not a word that people use in everyday language typically. So just a recap of what that word means. The word wisdom, it has to do with being able to make good judgments. It means having good sense, having insight into things that matter, right? So basically one definition of it is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. And this is all about basically what we need in order to make the best decisions in life, so that we're not putting ourselves in situations where we stifle ourselves because we're making poor decisions due to poor judgment. You might have good intentions, but if you don't have wisdom, then you're not very far in life. So that's why this show matters, I believe, because that's all that we deal with, really, how we can make the best decisions in life. And last week on the show, we discussed the wisdom of celebrity, right? So we talked about everything that we can learn from people who are in the limelight, people who are well known. Some people are well known for, curing diseases or, impacting the world in a positive way. Some people are famous because they got caught in a sex tape or whatever, right? So people are famous for different reasons, but we're talking about the good ways to become famous, if that's necessary. It's not absolutely necessary for everyone to be famous and well known, because as we discussed last week, that comes with plenty of problems. The Notorious B.I.G. said it himself: more money, more problems. And typically with a lot of money comes a lot of fame, or sometimes the fame comes and then the money, but whatever. But it can definitely impact your life in a powerful way, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So it's definitely something you don't want to get into just for the sake of doing it, right? Because when you're well known, what happens? You got a bunch of people in your business, right? So why would you want that for yourself if there's no other purpose to it outside of just being known? That means you can't go to the grocery store by yourself. That means, without security and stuff. You can't just take your family out to the movies or to a park without a bunch of people coming up trying to get your autograph. So, people think they want to be famous until the fame comes. Right. And then they don't know how to deal with it. Right.
And some understand what comes with it, and some can embrace it and deal with it. But some, it drives them to suicide. You've seen so many examples of celebrities and people of wealth and fame just ending it.
Right, and that's not good. There should be really, that's why the book of the week last week that was promoted, it had to do with how to deal with fame, because that's not something that's taught. Of course, in elementary school, they're not like, here's what you should do if one day you just so happen to become famous.
Yeah, there's no manual to it,
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people who do become overnight successes, or they become famous at a young age, sometimes even at an old age, they get into all types of legal troubles. They have issues with drinking, drugs. Sometimes they get involved in sex scandals. All types of things happen because they're not prepared for all that really comes with it. They're not prepared for women waiting outside of their door just ready to take them, and all these different things. They're like, wow, this is amazing, until somebody is like, oh, something happened that was inappropriate, or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're like, wow, fame is really not that.
It's trial and error.
Yeah.
Until, because there's no manual or rule book to it. There's no guidelines. Even though now they have what do they call them? Kind of people who manage your damage control,
like public relations.
Publicists, yeah.
Yeah, people, publicists, yeah.
Right. Try to guide you on what to do when you're famous, and
sometimes they listen to them, and sometimes they don't. I don't know if Donald Trump has a publicist, but he can't. That's all him. If you want to know if that's really Donald Trump, I'm guaranteeing he is the one that's behind that Twitter account. But more after this. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets.
Hey everybody, you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets.
With your host, Jason Johnson.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And this is JC Johnson here today with special guest Jermell. What's going on, Jermell?
How are the people doing out there? I'm good. How are you?
All right, excellent. And so today we are talking about the wisdom of generosity. And before the break, we did a quick recap on what we were discussing last week. We were talking about the wisdom of celebrity. And if you are wondering what does a celebrity have to do with a show about wisdom? Well, if you want to get more information on that, definitely go back and check on those past episodes from last week. You can listen on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And if you are in need of something that's hands-free, if you have a Amazon Alexa device, you can always say, Alexa, play For the Love of Wisdom, and it will actually bring it up for you on your Echo or whatever kind of Alexa device that you have. All right, and also you can always join in on the conversation on Twitter. The handle is @LoveWise Podcast. And also, you can check out my Instagram page. It is One Plan Media. All right, so just look up One Plan Media on Instagram, and you'll be able to connect with me that way as well. Now, when it comes to generosity, right? Because I think that this is a real important topic, and before we get too much into it, I'd like to take a look at 1 John chapter 3 verses 16 through 18. And this is what it says about this specifically. It says, "This is how we know what real love is. Jesus gave his life for us, so we should give our lives for each other as brothers and sisters. Suppose a believer who is rich enough to have all the necessities of life sees a fellow believer who is poor and does not have even basic needs. What if the rich believer does not help the poor one? Then it is clear that God's love is not in that person's heart. My children, our love should not only be words and talk. No, our love must be real. We must show our love by the things we do." All right, so that is that is definitely pretty heavy right there. I mean, that's just something to think about. Basically what this is saying is, we can say all we want. We can say, we love people and stuff like that. But if we're not willing to put something behind our words, if we're not able to put actions behind our words, then really we're just talking. We're not really saying much, because love is action. Love is not, the feel good, oh, I just love you so much, but it's like you actually have to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, it's an action verb. definitely. It's definitely. And you said something earlier, right? Mm-hmm. That I want to touch on, right? And it was about intent. It was about intent.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people say, what you intended to do doesn't matter. The end result was this, that, or the other. And I've just come to learn, right, through life that intent, to me personally, means everything. Like, I understand that, like, some things in life happen, and you can't necessarily follow through on what you said, but where was your heart when you told me what you told me? Like, what were your intentions when you told me you were gonna do this, or you couldn't do this, or like, where did it come from? What type of place did it come from? A good place? Like, what were your intentions when you promised this? And
so what is the motivation behind what you're doing?
What's your why?
Right.
Like, did you set out to hurt me, or to bother me, or to discomfort me in some sort of way, or did you set out to do a good deed and something in life happened and you just couldn't do it? Like, intent. Like,
right.
But yeah, I guess there's no right or wrong to that. I just want to kind of touch on what you said about that.
Okay. And right now we are live on Instagram, so definitely you can join in the conversation here as well. Again, like I said, you can hit me up on Twitter also if you want to join the conversation, but definitely join in if you have a response to what we're talking about. Right now we're talking about the wisdom of generosity, and we got special guest here, Jermell.
Hey.
And one thing I like to do at the beginning of every show is really to get into what the word that we're discussing means, because it's one thing to just talk about something, right? But if we don't have the context, if we don't even know the definition of it, then like, what are we supposed to, like, how are we supposed to even get anywhere? Like, if I'm basically just, for example, I'm just talking about Brussels sprouts, but you've never heard of a Brussels sprout, you've never eaten a Brussels sprout before, you don't even know that it's a vegetable, then you're gonna miss the whole context. It's just gonna sound like I'm saying something that's like super deep or super weird, depending on how you look at it, right? So I always like to say, this is what this word actually means. So if we look at the online etymology dictionary, this is a great place to look to do word studies, to kind of break down why we use certain English words that we use. Now, and so here we got joining us on Instagram Live, we got Blacked Out. What's going on? We have Schiltz Love, who just joined in. We got P. Anthony Sings. Paul Morton, what's going on? So again, today we're discussing the wisdom of generosity. And if we look at it, this word generosity actually means, it actually comes from a word that has to do with one's genes, right? So if you think about it, it's those first three letters, G-E-N. It has to do with someone's genes, right? So somebody's roots. And also, if you look at it, it also is related to the word generate. So a lot of these words that we use in everyday language are interlinked, right? So we need to understand why we use them. So really, the word generous, when it was first used, it had to do with a person who comes from a certain stock, right? A person who has particular genes. More specifically, a person who comes from noble birth, right? So when we use it in 2018, or as early as the late 1600s, they started using it how we use it today. We're basically saying that we are behaving in such a way that would show that we come from a good place, that we come from good stock, that we come from the right heart, the right attitude. So pretty much a secondary sense of this word, it means unselfish, it means plentiful, right? It means that we're giving in a large amount. So like if you were to say to someone, hey, would you like a little bit of mashed potatoes, or would you like a generous portion of mashed potatoes, right? That's what you'd be saying. So
Got you. And I like that too. You're right about as far as comprehending the things you hear and read. Like without comprehension, like it's like you're hearing gibberish. Like if I'm not understanding the subject you're on, or the topic, or the material, whatever, like I'm lost in the conversation. I'm glad you broke that down. That's nice. I love the science of how words are derived and put together, and how one word can have a two-part meaning. I just love that.
Yeah, definitely, because I think that puts things in context. It makes things make sense, right? So we're gonna get more into that when we come back. And when we come back, I actually have a test. This is a test to show how generous a person is, right? So Blacked Out is talking about the mashed potatoes. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll have to bring some mashed potatoes so we can eat that later. But we're about to go to a break. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. We'll be right back.
This is your girl, Juicy Jazzo, and I wanted to let you know I'm all about wisdom. Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round. And you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom right now, bleeding out the speakers.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And of course, you know, we are on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, so today I'm here with a special guest, Jermell. What's going on?
Hey.
All right, and so today we are discussing the wisdom of generosity, right? So before the break, I asked everyone, I told everyone that we're going to be looking at a quiz, and basically this quiz shows how generous of a person you are, right? So we got a couple responses here. So one from Schultz Love, and she was responding to the first question, and the first question was, when your friend asks for a favor, how do you react, right? And so her response, basically, if it's her best friend, then she's gonna do it right away. But then she went on to say, if it's a mutual friend, and she's gonna have some questions to ask, right? She's gonna need to qualify that first. Like, all right, I can probably help, but I need a little bit more information. Right. So here's some other questions, and I don't know if you got a chance.
Yeah, I took it.
You took it. Okay, cool. So hang on to your response. We'll talk about that probably after the break.
Okay.
But let's take a look at the second question here. The second question is, how often do you give money to charity? Right? How often do you give money to charity? And the different responses here are: never. I spend money on me and my family. The second one: never. I spend money by myself. The third one: only when someone guilts me into doing that. And then the fourth one here: any possible chance I get. So definitely, you know, if you don't have the test right in front of you, and again, you can pull this test up yourself. You can just do a Google search for "Am I Generous?" personality quiz, right? And you'll be able to do that yourself. The third question here: how hard is it for you to buy a present for your best friend? Is it hard? Is it easy? Right? So here are the possible answers. Not at all. I choose the cheapest gift. All right. Like, hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Another one: I always forget to buy presents. Third: I enjoy it and always know what my friend wants. And then the fourth one: it's hard, but I always choose great gifts. Okay, so those are the possible answers there for that one. Let's take a look at the next question. Next question. I thought this was a interesting one. It says, if you saw a lost puppy in the street, what would you do? All right, so the possible answers here are: call my friend who loves animals to help him, take him home, feed him, and find his owner, That's not what I would do. But the third one, I would feel sorry, but I wouldn't do anything. And then the fourth one, keep going and ignore the puppy. All right. So depending on, how you would respond in that situation, basically will show how generous you are or aren't. All right. So here's the fifth one. When you help someone, what are your expectations from that person? All right. So the possible answers here are, I expect nothing in return, or thank you. Just a simple thank you would be enough. The third one, I hardly ever help. And then the fourth one, their help in return or a present, right? So it's like, yeah, okay, I can do this for you, but I need you to then do something for me, right? So that's one, possibility there. So when it says, when you see an old person trying to cross the street, what do you do? Okay, so some answers here. See if someone else would offer to help. Or I keep going and ignore that person. Help that person and move on. Or help that person and carry her bag wherever she's going, right? So those are some possible answers. And again, if you want to join in, we're live on Instagram. Just look up One Plan Media, right? So that's at One Plan Media, and you can look that up that way, and you can join in on the conversation. So here's another one. When you see an old person trying to cross the street, what do you do? All right, so here are the possibilities here. See if someone else would offer to help, or keep going and ignore that person, help that person and move on, or help that person and carry her bag wherever she's going. All right, so that is, those are the possibilities for that one. Two more questions. Okay, someone in a store in front of you has no money to pay for groceries. What do you do? All right, either you jump in and pay their bill, that's pretty generous.
Depends on the amount of the bill. I'm gonna peep the scene first. I've done that, like literally. Mm-hmm. Even like not even so much as they couldn't pay the bill, they're like $2 short, or they have enough to pay the bill, but the candy that the kid wanted has to go back, or the juice. I'm like, man, put that up there. I got that for him, he or she. Let's get the kid in order.
Right.
Yeah, but just depending on the amount. Like I don't, you're $5 short from this grocery list you put together. You're up here. Everything you need is in his cart. You $5 over what you had to spend. Here you go, no problem.
Right. So there's a lot of different ways to handle a situation like that. Some people like, what? Pay for your groceries? Nah, I'm not about to do that. Right? But it just depends on what kind of person you are, right?
Right.
So here's another one. I loan them the money as long as they promise to pay it back. All right, so that's one. Another one. Nothing. It's not my problem, right? Right. So I'm not even. A lot of
people are like that.
I'm not even gonna worry about it. I got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to miss the Wendy Williams show or whatever. I'm trying to get home. I don't have time for this, right? So here's another one. I tell them to go home and return with the money. I mean that's very practical, right? That's helpful. Yeah, I guess.
That. You're spiteful if you say that.
Yeah, it's like just go back home and get it.
Right.
As if they haven't thought about
Obviously,
that.
Right. You should go to hell if you say that. Automatically.
Here's another one. The last one. What would you do if you found a wallet in the street? Now, this is one thing that I remember being taught back in the day. I don't hear it too much anymore, but what people used to always say is, if you find some money out in the street, then you turn it in to the police station so that they can find the owner, right? Now, that's kind of difficult to do unless it's like somebody's name, like, you find their credit card or something like that. It's got their information on it. But, if someone loses a $50 bill and they say, hey, did anyone lose a $50 bill? You probably have 50 people who are going to raise their hands.
Here's my thing on this. If I see you drop the money, I would definitely tap you, like, hey, you dropped this, definitely. Or if I see you leave, say your wallet, and there's cash in there, I've done this. Again, I'm gonna look for your ID, get your address off of it. I'm gonna put everything in an envelope, and I'm just mail your stuff back to you. Yeah, I'm just mail your stuff to you. I've done that. Now, don't get it wrong. I've also you live and learn, and you mature and you evolve in life. I've also done the opposite. I've also, in my high school days, seen someone drop a $10 bill and like pick it up and keep it, you know? So I've been on both ends, but as you grow and mature, you learn and you get standards and morals and ethics about yourself, and you start to learn who you are as a person. You just no longer want to do stuff like that just because it's not, you've grown out of that stage in your life. Y'all would never do that today.
So on Instagram Live, a couple answers here. You look into it and see if there's any information, and you try to reach the person or put it in the mail, right? That's helpful also. So when we come back from the break, Jermell and I, we're actually going to go over our answers because we both took the quiz, and we'll let you know how we did on that. You're listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. We'll be right back.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Queen Z from the Queen Z Show, and you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And we are on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, so before the break, we were looking at a Am I Generous personality quiz, right? So we're looking at how do you know whether you are generous or not. So here's something from the site. It says, generous people are the ones everyone loves because they are amazing friends. If you don't have a lot of friends, it may be because you don't give enough and you keep taking from them. So complete this test and find out how generous you really are, right? So let's take a look and see. Jermell and I, we're here. We're actually gonna go over what answers we got on ours. So I'll go first. I'll say mine. So pretty much and ask different questions. If your friend asks for a favor, how do you react? How often do you give money to charity? How hard is it for you to buy a present for your best friend? If you saw a lost puppy in the street, what would you do? When you help someone, what are your expectations? When you see an old person trying to cross the street, what do? If someone's in front of you at the store and they can't pay for their groceries, what do you do? And then also, what would you do if you found a wallet in the street, right? So those are the 8 questions that they ask on this test. Okay, so, and again, you can just do a Google search if you want to do that yourself. Just look up Am I Generous Personality Quiz. Now, these are the results that I got. So Jermell, let's see, maybe we can compare, see how we both did on this.
Okay.
All right. All right, here we go. So here's what I got on mine. One moment. So pretty much mine says you're unselfish. Okay, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. So it says you're unselfish. If someone asks you for a favor, you always accept it if you care about that person. Okay? So here's the not so good news. It says you are not generous because you hardly ever help complete strangers. So it looks like I got it half right. So it says if it's somebody that I know, then most likely I'll be unselfish. I'll help them out. But if it's a stranger, that's something that I need to work on, right? So that's the results that I got. What about you, Jermell? What did you get?
So, hold on. I had to just retake it real quick because I clicked out of it.
Okay.
I'm on question 6, though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, give me one moment. Question 7. And question 8 is now done. Okay, so mine tells me, it says you are so generous. You love helping people even if you don't get anything in return. People describe you as someone who always gives. Your empathy and compassion have no limits. I like that.
Okay. Well, say that again so everyone can hear it.
My result was you are so generous. It says that you love helping people even if you don't get anything in return. People describe you as someone who always gives. Your empathy and compassion have no limits.
That's awesome. So that means I need to learn from you, because mine said that I may be unselfish when it comes to people I know, but with people I don't know too well, it says that I can be more generous, right? So
got you, right? Definitely. Which makes sense. Like, of course I'm going to be more willing for people I'm familiar and comfortable and have some type of care and concern about. It affects me.
But I think a challenge for all of us is to, just as Jesus said, he said, it's one thing to just to love those who love you, right? But and this is going just beyond someone being a stranger, but he said you also have to love people who don't love you back, right? And that is a challenge. That's a challenge for everybody, because you feel like, well, this person, they don't treat me right, this person doesn't deserve that kind of love, right? But Jesus says that regardless of what you think, you should treat everybody the same, because God treats us the same. Whether you are somebody who who's considered a stand-up person, the neighborhood role model or whatever, or maybe you're on death row because you shot 40 people. Regardless of who you are, what kind of things you've done in your life, God treats us all with respect. He treats us all with generosity. And one thing that it does say in the Bible is that it is God's goodness that leads us to repentance, right? So it's not, as a lot of people may think, him just threatening us with judgments and all this type of stuff, but it's really his compassion, it's his goodness towards us. Think about it. We wake up every day, and we don't always wonder when we go to sleep at night. Unless you live in a war zone or something like that. But we don't always think, am I going to wake up tomorrow? We say, when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to go here and do this. I'm going to do that. We make plans for the week, for the month, for the year.
Right.
We make our 20-year plan because we just assume we're going to be here, right?
Right.
But we have to remember that it's only because of God's goodness that we are here. So that's something that's, really important to remember and, keep in mind. And so when we come back from the break, we're going to actually look at a couple of the headlines relating to people who are generous and, kind of what that looks like in 2018. So you definitely don't want to miss that. We are right now just concluding the first hour of the show. So we got another hour. We'll be rocking out here until 6 o'clock. So definitely appreciate all who are tuning in. Again, you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and I'm your host, JC Johnson, here today with special guest Jermell.
Hey.
And we are on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you, right? So don't go anywhere. We're going to play a little bit of music, and then we're going to be right back.
Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round. Money, power, respect, I get it, higher, learning, yeah, I'm with it. Only get better with time, keep got on my mind with wisdom, there's no limit. There's no limit, get up and get it. Can achieve the impossible, conquer every obstacle. Exhaustively grinding, constantly pushing, do what they say I could. Life is what you make it. Knowledge is power, don't let them take it. If you